that's the first time I've done this for a while, or it's the first time ever. I went the wrong way on my way to church. Oh well. My memory is actually getting better. I made a video called A While Before Coronavirus. That was what it was called then. Well, it wasn't called anything then. We didn't know it was coming. But then at first we called it coronavirus. I just wanted to say that in this video that I believe the last two presidents did not want to be president. First Bush wanted to be, then I'm just going to keep going with this video. Not Bush. First Trump. I don't think he thought of it really. I mean, seriously doing it until he got to the Miss Universe pageant. Was probably where he was approached. And you know where this is going. And my first worry that was the case came not very long after he won the nomination. And I remember I was deer hunting in the early season in September. I think he won it in June. And all of a sudden, I just thought, wait a minute, it's Putin. I'll bet you Putin, or one of his agents somehow, they suggested to Trump that he should run for president. They had been thinking about finding someone, I would assume, and I think Putin, you know, when the Soviet Union fell apart, he was a KGB agent, and he ended up being the president. And I'm sure he studied what a president can and can't do a lot in his life. He has. He's still in there, but this worry of his coming 2024 election, I just think Putin just cares about himself, about staying in power, because in Russia, when you lose power, you're basically dead unless you find someone to take over for you. And that's actually how Putin got in. He was trusted by Yeltsin, who needed to get out. He was the vodka had pretty well took its toll on him, and he was going to be out, and that's how Putin got in there. Anyway, that's another story. So anyway, I think that they suggested to Trump, and I think he went for it. And I thought that when I made that video, I mean, I worried about it ever since September, after Trump won the nomination in 2016. And I have never seen anything since that has completely convinced me that didn't happen. Now, you know, we have the nuclear documents being found, so then that goes right to, yeah, well. And then the other thing I should say is that when I was thinking of it at first, what if Putin put him up to it, you know, way back in September of 2016? I thought that, they could figure out ways of communicating, and I don't really believe that's was going on all along, but they had a long time ahead of time to figure out how to do things. But I don't necessarily think that did happen. Okay, enough about Trump and Putin. Now I want to go to the pleasant subject for me, not pleasant for the people who believe that Biden is, even worse than the worst that the Democrats think of Trump. I mean, I was going for Amy Klobuchar, can't even say her name, until she dropped out. I went to the rally in Raleigh. That was shortly after that she dropped out. But all of the other people that were there and helping with her campaign, and I helped. I went to do some handouts. I didn't even dare bring her up. I stopped at a couple of houses, and they were definitely for Trump, and I didn't even say anything. But the people at that rally, they just basically said, someone has to beat Trump. And that was what her slogan was. Amy can beat Trump. And Trump is the devil. That was what it just was said much. I tend to agree. But people that love Trump are, as I said in my previous video, very good people. Believe what they do about the Democrats, and that makes Trump very needed. And if I believed what my good friends that I love, if I believed what they believe, I would be right in there fighting with them. Believe me, I would be. But I don't believe that stuff about the Democrats. There's all sorts of different things, from its communism to basically its the QAnon belief is that reptilians are running humanity. I think Hillary and Obama, and I don't know if they think Biden is a reptilian or not. I don't want to get into it too much, but if that were true, oh yeah, and then there's the huge pedophile ring, and I think they think that Hillary is a pedophile. I think I talked about that in my video called A While Before Coronavirus. Hillary is no pedophile. Hillary is a good Methodist. But if you think that she's a reptilian, pedophile, horrible thing, then and if you think that Trump, and they also, I think they believe that Trump and Putin are together fighting the evil of this. And I mean, it's believable. This stuff is so, it reminds me a little bit of when I was into the Young Earth cult. I had a fairly substantial pseudoscience book that explained why the Earth was only 7,000 or whatever it was years old, and they were a lot more scientific than I was, understanding things, and they had an answer for everything. And at that time, I was running around believing it, And I'm that way. Whenever I believe something that no one else believes, I just feel that I should tell other people they need to know this. So I told a lot of people that back in those days, in the 80s, I think it was. One of the funniest episodes was when I went to the State Gas and Oil Commission to argue about how an oil well should be split up. Before our docket came up, I ended up sitting in this room with a bunch of geologists and geologist lawyers that were going to argue in either that case or others. And I started telling all those geologists about that the Earth was only 7,000 years old. I think I did that. I don't remember it very well. It was back in my drinking days. Today's the first day, though, that I've went the wrong way on the way to church. But since my heart attack and eating and exercising right, my memory is so much better. I remember things like, where's my wallet? Oh yeah, it's out in the car in the behind the back seat. And that kind of thing used to never happen before for a long time. So just a little bit more about how much I think of Biden. I just think everything he does is like, yes, that's what I would do. Every single thing one of the things that a lot of people really argue against, and it's a good argument, like if you're going to pick the best person for the Supreme Court, if you're going to start right off by whittling it down to it has to be a black woman, then you're probably not going to get the one single best qualified person. So if that's your idea, then that's not a smart way to do it. But Biden believed very strongly that it had to be a black woman, and I shouldn't say what he thought because I don't know for sure, but he thought, well, there's plenty well-qualified black women to do it, and it's time that we have a black woman in there, or we never will. And I agree with it. Even when it doesn't make sense at first, I'm not sure that didn't make sense to me, but I just really look up to Biden, and I think the people that think that he, these evil cabal is running things and whatever it is, and he's just a yes man and just does what they say. The arguments about the way he talks don't resonate well with me because I had severe stuttering myself. And that is really something to deal with. And it does crop up. You can probably hear it in me now. Stammer. Hesitate, stammer. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not intelligent, but I'm not saying that I am. I don't really know if I am. I know my brain is too fast. I learned this when I went to substance abuse, alcoholism treatment. In 1983, they even had to give me a drug to slow my brain down. And it really worked, and I was able to start the program of recovery. But I haven't had to. I got off that with, well, some people in AA convinced me to go off it really before I should have. But anyway, I made it to here. I'm still alive. I love my life. Now I'm getting into an AA talk. So anyway, I really like Biden. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm almost at church, so I wanted to get this in. He didn't want to be president either. He did when he was vice president. But then, by the time it came for him to decide to run, it was after he lost his son. And is this where I go in? Yep. And it just took the wind out of his sails. He did not any longer want to. I don't think. He kind of said that too. Well, it's a good thing I held that up. Went up this hill to church. So that's my video. The last two presidents didn't want to be president. Oh, and then the last thing, I think that's why Biden is so good. He didn't want to be president. But when it came down to it, he had a job to do. He needed to. I hate to say it because I have so many people that I love that think highly of Trump. But we needed someone to get that could beat Trump. We really did. It's just what I think. Here I am at church. Oh, I love this church. Something that happens with the music, words to the music. Thank you. God bless.